back to Good Day, everyone. We have to wish a big happy birthday to Abac. It just celebrated its 105th birthday. Ashley Mock is here, but we're not talking about your birthday, really.
Exactly.
Kind of holding off the celebration for a while.
Right. We're really excited to be able to plan for the celebration next week to reopen the front of campus. And actually 105 years ago yesterday, 27 students walked up the front steps of Tift Hall. And so here we are 105 years later, 3,200 students, and getting ready to open the front of campus.
That is just so exciting. Tift Hall is one of 3 buildings that you'll be rededicating.
Correct. Tift Hall is the main. It was in 1908. It was the administration building, and so that's where administration, the classes were at. And then on each side is Lewis and Herring Hall, which were the dorms.
Nice.
So.
And I mean, just so much history. So many students have walked through. Just how exciting is it for Abac to have this building reopened, now having students back in those classrooms?
It's really exciting. Actually, June will be 7 years that I've been at Abac, and actually the first day on the job, I moved out of Tift Hall. Like, we moved out of Tift Hall. So it was the first time the president's office hadn't been on the front of campus. The entire front door of the college basically was closed. So here we are 6 years later, and we're moving back into the front of campus. Public relations and the president's office are already back in Tift Hall, and then the people will move into Lewis and Herring. And it's really exciting to be able to have the classes back on the front of campus and that kind of thing. So everybody's really looking forward to it.
Certainly, and not only is it these buildings, reopening the lawn, the mall, all those places that so many students have, whether it's studied, maybe skipped class, just enjoyed their time at Abac.
Exactly. It'll be nice because there's a lot of students that are there now since the front campus has been closed for 6 years. There's a lot of students that have never been in the buildings on the front of campus or never been able to utilize the lawn out front. And so it's really exciting for the students and for the faculty and staff to be able to get people back to the front of campus. And we're looking forward to opening the front door back up.
Certainly, and since you're all opening it up next weekend, if you went to Abac, you have the opportunity to come down because this is part of your alumni weekend.
Exactly. We thought, while we're going to do this and we're going to rededicate the front of campus, we might as well make it part of the homecoming weekend. So the homecoming is always the first weekend in March. And so we plan to have Celebrate Abac, which is our homecoming, as a part of the rededication. So the rededication ceremony on March 1st will kick everything off at 1:30, and then the events will follow through the rest of the weekend.
I love it. We've got to talk about all those events coming up here on Good Day in just a few minutes. But right now, we're going to hand it on over to Kelly. Has just celebrated its 105th birthday. Yesterday was the big celebration, and 105 years, that certainly is a lot of students to go through those doors. So their alumni weekend is coming up, and this is the alumni weekend to go to.
Exactly.
Because you all have just so much going on. Of course, the historical front campus rededication kind of kicks it all off.
Exactly. That's going to kind of kick everything off at 1:30. That'll be on the front steps of Tift Hall, out with the grand lawn and everything. They're putting all the finishing touches on it, and it looks beautiful. So that'll kind of kick everything off, and then the other 2 buildings will be open for people to go through, because we're really hoping that we'll have some alumni that lived in one of the dorms, and now they can go back in and see how the buildings look, because a lot of them have like offices and that kind of thing in them now. So admissions and financial aid and human resources will be back on the front of campus, and then in Lewis Hall will be the School of Business. So we'll be dedicating the Stafford School of Business that day.
Nice.
And we've got a really exciting surprise. Steve Penley, a world famous artist, is going to be there to reveal a piece of artwork that we've commissioned for Abac.
Now, did he go to Abac?
He did not.
Okay,
he did not.
He's just doing it because it's a great school.
Exactly. So that'll be unveiled at the 3 o'clock dedication for the Stafford School of Business.
I love it. I know it's all going on March 1st. You got a little bit of time.
Right.
Do folks need to buy tickets for this?
All of this is open to the public. You don't have to buy tickets for the rededication stuff. There's also a concert that evening from 6:30 to 8:30 in the Meadows, which is kind of in the center of campus. And then we're going to end the day with a bang and have some fireworks at 8:30.
How cool. I know. Do you need tickets for the fireworks?
No.
Oh, this is so exciting. Again, 105 years. You certainly have a lot to celebrate. Renovations, it can be a bit pricey. How did y'all pay for all of this?
This has all been through state funding and bonds. There has been some private funding that we secured to put a little of the finishing touches that we needed to on there, but all of it's been through the state and funding and the bonds.
That is just so wonderful. And these buildings, the 3 landmark buildings that are being rededicated coming up on the 1st, they've been closed for a while. So it's not like, oh, we threw a paint job on it and now we're deciding to rededicate it. It's really a whole new look, a whole new makeover, but still keeping that history.
Exactly. President Bridges makes a joke about it, but it probably is true that if we'd had more money, we would have done a lot more damage to the buildings, because we had no money to kind of piecemeal things and fix a little bit here and fix a little bit there. They were just completely closed. I mean, before Tift Hall was closed, there were over 20 jacks underneath the floor holding it up.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, the buildings were falling apart, but they were 100
But
years
now they're
old.
stable.
Exactly, they're great now. Everything has been redone, the structure, and we've tried to go back as much to the original look of the buildings and preserve that the features that were in there. So.
That is just so exciting. Again, it all opens, open to the public, 1:30, Abraham Baldwin Agriculture College. Happy birthday. And get on down there and see all the new improvements that they have to their wonderful school. Kelly, on over to you.